Good morning, Year 10. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. So please could you start the do now? I would like you to write down the names of any poems from your study this term that explore how love can be disappointing. For at least one of these poems, write down any quotations you can remember. So please pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. So these are some poems you may have come up with. A song. The mismatch between what the lover thinks she wants and her reality. Love and friendship. The issues between friends once one finds love and the potential breakup. A broken appointment. The pain of being stood up/ghosted and not thought of. Unrequited love. So unrequited love, as we talked about before, is when you love somebody but they don't love you back. And fin de fête. The bitterness when things don't turn out the way you hoped or expected. But as we've discussed before, this one is quite ambiguous, so in terms of what actually happened, it's up to interpretation, but it's pretty clear that things didn't turn out really well because, as we've talked about as well, fin de fête means the party's over. So in one way or another, something came to an end. So if you didn't get these written down, please could you write them down now? Okay, please could you write the date and the title of Poetry Part B, Writing About a Poem from Memory. For this lesson, you will need your notes on the poems we have studied, any other revision materials you have made, and a pen. So Paper 2, Section B, Poetry. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to write down the key information. So poetry is part of the second exam paper you'll sit for English Literature. Section A of poetry works in the same way as Section A in Paper 1. As we talked about last time, Part A, comparison of a known text with an unknown text, 45 minutes, 20 marks. So Inspector Calls will be compared with another play, and then a poem you know from this cluster will be compared with another poetry, typically about love as well. So then you go into Part B. For Inspector Calls, you're writing about another moment from the play from memory, and then for the poetry part, you'll be writing about another poem that you know from memory, obviously from the cluster that we're doing. So 30 minutes and 20 marks. This means you'll have to write from memory about a poem. Examiners will expect you to have 4 to 6 quotations in your answer, and for you to write approximately 1.5 sides of A4. The question will provide a theme, and you choose which poem you pick. The question they ask you should fit with at least 5 of the 15 poems studied to make it fair to you. So if it happens that even though I advise you to have quotes for all the poems, if there's a couple that you didn't get a chance to do or don't know in as much detail, don't panic, provided that you have a solid bank of quotes for the majority of them. Okay, so this is a possible Part B, but now we're going to look at possible Part B questions. Explore in detail one other poem from the anthology which presents X. X could be love as disappointment, passion, bitterness towards another person, and feeling isolated. Write a list of as many topics as you can that X could be. Use your notes on the poems to help you. So these are some potential ideas. Please could you write them down? Loss, pain, desire, longing, nature, distance, isolation, confrontation, reflection, recovery, time, and change. So please make sure you've noted down everything from this slide. Okay, so before we tackle some Part B questions, we need to know the poems really well. Spend 15 minutes on a brain dump of the poems we've studied so far. Make sure to include any quotations you remember, as well as literary terms used and the themes covered. Then check back against your notes. So please pause the video for 15 minutes in order to do this. Okay, so now you're going to have 10 minutes to write a list of titles of which poems you can mention for each of your categories. Use your notes on the poems to help you. So for each of the themes, loss, pain, desire, etc., you're jotting down which poems could relate to that theme. And as we've been going through each poem, we have been noting down the theme, or you should have been noting down themes as we go, so it shouldn't be too difficult. What I would do in your position is write one theme per line, or maybe every other line write a theme. So loss, leave a line, pain, and so on, and then go through each poem and write it next to the relevant themes. However, you can do it how you would like. So please pause the video for 10 minutes to do that now. So your method in the exam. Take notes and then practice. Imagine the exam was this. Explore in detail one other poem from your anthology which expresses doubt or uncertainty in relationships. 1. Consider which poems you could pick. Write down any that come to mind. Think through the poems in order to make sure you're not missing a good one. So pause the video to do that now. 2. Decide on your poem. 3. Write down any quotations that come to mind. So I would like you to pick one of the poems you have in your list and write down any quotations you can remember for that poem. 4. Summarise your argument. How does this poem present the theme of the question? What is the perspective of the speaker? So pause the video again in order to do that now. Okay, so explore in detail one other poem from your anthology which expresses doubt or uncertainty in relationships. Possible poems might include Emily Bronte's Love and Friendship and Helen Maria Williams's A Song. So AO1 requires a critical overview of how another poem expresses doubt or uncertainty in relationships, e.g. Williams' The Storm is in My Soul, as she worries about where her love is and if he is safe. Also requires textual reference and quotation, demonstrating an understanding of the poem. AO2 requires appreciation of the impact of poetic conventions, such as lyrical voice, choice of stanza form, figurative language, rhythm and sound effects, e.g. Williams uses Why Wonder Riches. The question is rhetorical because she can't understand why he's seeking to impress her with wealth. She is uncertain why he's doing this. Evaluation of the impact of language, aspects of poetic form and structure, and the poet's choice of images to encourage the reader to reflect on doubt or uncertainty in relationships, e.g. Bronte's image that love is like the wild rose briar. So I would like you to pause the video to make a note of AO1 and AO2. So an opening paragraph. Establish your choice and how the theme is presented. This is an example. One poem which expresses uncertainty in relationships is A Song by Helen Maria Williams. In a song, the uncertainty is not about whether this is the right relationship, but coping with the uncertainty of being apart from the lover and doubting their safety while they travel from shore to shore. Please pause the video to write this down. Then you move into the analysis, but keep it relevant. A song follows a typical A-B rhyme rhythm of a sea shanty, which reflects the seaside setting of the poem. The speaker awaits on land, worrying about when the lover will return. Williams writes that she would be happy with basic things. A lowly cot, frugal meal, while her lover is looking for riches to obtain. This contrast highlights her confusion as she asks rhetorical questions. Why wonder riches to obtain when love is all I prize? The speaker is shown to be uncertain about why the lover doesn't understand what she values, that she values his presence over the material goods he has gone in search of. Once again, please could you write this down? With the remaining lesson time, I would like you to have a go at writing one paragraph for this essay. So remember that the examiners are looking to see critical style, an informed personal response to the text, showing understanding, textual references and quotations, analysis of writer's use of language, form and structure to create meanings and effects, and subject terminology. Explore in detail one other poem from your anthology which expresses doubt or uncertainty in relationships. So please pause the video now to have a go at writing one of your paragraphs. Okay, so we're now going to finish with a reflection. We're nearly at the halfway point with the poems. Hopefully today's lesson has helped to remind you of those we've covered. I'd like you to reread them and consider which ones you feel more confident with and which you need to work on more. Over half term, I would like you to make a set of flashcards for each of the poems we've read so far. Make use of your notes to do this, and I would like you to send me pictures of your flashcards so I know you've done it. So that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for your hard work. I'm going to see you again before the end of half term, so I will see you next lesson for our language lesson. Thank you very much and see you next time.